Welcome to Simply Robotics, the podcast, a podcast exploring the animation industry one episode at a time. I'm your host, Monique, and you can find me on all social media platforms at Simply Robotics, SIMPLYROBOTIX. Remember, when listening to the show, use the hashtag Simply Robotics Pod to join in on the conversation. Now, listeners, I'm sorry. I just want to let you know that if you cannot tell by my background or by my shirt what this episode could possibly be about or the title of the episode, I'm going to tell you right now. I'll tell you. But before I tell you, I need to say that this episode is being sponsored by Autodesk. Okay. So this episode, okay, listeners, let me tell you, my background right now for this video is a scene from Into the Spiderverse. My shirt is a Spider-Man shirt. This episode is going to be an interview as well as just talking, getting to know a bit more about an animator that worked on Into the Spiderverse. So I won't hold you anymore. We'll get right to it right now. So like I said, I have my guest, Steven, here with me. And you say you prefer Steven, right? Or not Steve?
Yeah, Steven. Definitely Steven.
Yeah, I think in my mind, I've been calling you Steve the whole time.
That's fine too, yeah.
But no, I'm going to call you what you prefer. So, Steven, can you tell my listeners and viewers where you're from?
I'm from the Bronx, New York. Do you want me to embellish a little bit?
Yeah, and your family background. People got to start to get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, I'm from the Bronx, New York. My mother and father are both from Jamaica. My mother is Chinese Jamaican, so she's about half Chinese, half black. And then my dad is just mixed up with a bunch of stuff, but that side never really dove into what they're mixed with.
So that's interesting too. So then, like we were saying before recording, I'm assuming too grew up probably with a lot of different things in your household, with your mom being Chinese and also black, right?
Yeah. So since she's half and she's second generation half, so she's second generation half Jamaican. So it's people who grew up Asian people who grew up here, they're not the most Asian they could be. There's an Americanized version of it. That's the same thing with my family, but they still have a ton of Chinese customs and stuff that they do, and the food and all that. So they do that. And then I think growing up, I thought I looked more Asian than I actually do. But looking at me, you wouldn't be able to tell how Asian I am.
Yeah. Was that as a child, were some of the features more apparent then?
No, people used to think I was South Asian, Indian or something like that.
Yeah.
I used to get that more when I was younger. And then when I got older, I got Hispanic. And it's kind of weird.
Okay.
But like I was telling you before, since I left, that's mostly in New York I get the Hispanic thing. But when I left New York, I think most people just assume I'm black, because I don't think a lot of people will run into Afro Latinos outside of the East Coast, maybe.
Yeah, probably so. So one of the reasons I enjoy having guests on my show, and I've been having really a lot of friends come on, but I also want to have, or intended on having, people that work in the industry as guests as well. So I know that you are an animator, and can you tell me, did you go to school for animation, or did you pick it up in an online training program, or did you start off doing stuff by yourself, and how did you get into it?
Yeah, so originally I got into it. I did an interview before, and I didn't mention this part of it. But originally my mom, she got me into it by buying a ton of Disney movies. Almost every Disney movie that would come out, she would buy that on VHS. And then we just
Nice.
Me and my sister would watch it all over and over again. But then more recently, I don't know why I didn't think of this, but my dad, he works at the Museum of the Moving Image in Astoria.
I love that museum.
Yeah. So he's worked there since I was 5 or something. So I was always around animation. And I guess it just I was just always running around in the museum, just causing terror.
That's so amazing.
So I guess that was just there. So it never didn't occur to me that animation wasn't a job to do, because I always knew that somebody did it from that. So in high school, I went to an American Studies high school. So it's but I like doing art, and I was never that studious or studious at all. So we had to do an assignment, and the teacher wanted us to write an essay about what we wanted to do when we grew up, and what career or profession we wanted to go into. So then I did the research paper on being an animator at Pixar. So from then, that was like always in the back of my mind, and then I like kind of drifted off from that for a little bit and did like Photoshop stuff and drew a little bit. I also did some music in between all that. But then when it was time to go to college, then I just went right back to animation. I also did like one random like animation course at Parsons.
Okay. This was like before college?
Yeah, this was before college. This was in high school. Like me and a friend of mine, we just did like one course. I think it was like over a month. So like it was we did a walk cycle in Flash. Doing that, like I knew that it was like something fun that I would enjoy doing. So then in college, that's when I applied to Mercy College and like some other colleges. But I didn't really have a portfolio. So I had like Photoshop stuff I'd done. I had some stuff I drew, but I didn't have like a proper portfolio because I didn't really know how to make one.
Right.
So I just showed them like stuff that I did, and I think they just accept everybody. So I got in there, and I did all 4 years there, and after that, I decided to do animation mentor
Okay.
because like a lot of these brick and mortar schools, they teach you like everything. They teach you how to animate, how to model, a little bit how to do story, just like every step in the pipeline, which is good if you don't know exactly what you want to do and you're just like trying to figure it out. But I did all that stuff and I never really got a chance to like animate that much because we were always responsible for every step. So it's like a time crunch and then you just get something out. So after that, I went to Animation Mentor.
Can you explain what Animation Mentor is for those who may not know and what that experience is like?
Mm-hmm. Animation Mentor is an online school. You don't get a degree from it; you just get a certificate. But it's when I went, it was 7 courses, and they took you all the way from like a bouncing ball, like the very beginning of animation, all the way through like characters acting and emoting and all that fun stuff. Not saying the beginning stuff isn't fun, but yeah. So basically, it's 7 courses, and you get to train with people who are actually working in the industry, which isn't always the case at brick and mortar schools. I was lucky enough to have some instructors that were currently working in the industry, and they always like pushed us to go to industry events and stuff like that. And after Animation Mentor, I left that after 4 classes, and then went to iAnimate, which is another online animation school. And then I finished there. Do I take you through my whole career? Or?
I mean, we're gonna get into more too, but
Okay.
I'm just personally interested now between the animation and mentor and I animate. Like, what if
Yeah.
you can share what made you change and what was the difference in experiences from both of
Mm-hmm.
those?
So the difference is Animation Mentor is like the leader, I think, in online schools. Right now, I think it's between them and Anim School.
Mm.
But when I went, they were like the top one, and they have their own website, and their website is like really well done, and they really are good at building a community. So like when you have your work, you can upload your shot, and then everybody in the school can like just go to your page and then review your shot and just give you notes and stuff. So they really try to foster that community, which is really good. But I found for me the way I'm accustomed to learning or the way I like to learn, um, they were too they were too nice, and then I thought I was doing better than I was.
Oh wow.
And they also use when I was there, they were using grades. So the grades, like you try hard and then you get an A, but that doesn't mean that like the work that you're doing is A worthy. It could just mean like you did the assignment, you like understand for the most part, but it doesn't like really equate to like, oh, you're actually amazing, which I thought I was at the time. I mean, I had like a hint of like, I don't think I'm actually getting there because I wasn't getting like callbacks or anything. I would apply places, like I wouldn't hear anything back. So I knew something was up, but it was like the correlation between like the grades I was getting and not getting calls was too different to me. So then I saw iAnimate, and there's the two styles are very different. So iAnimate was more back in the day. It was like all DreamWorks animators, so it
Yeah.
had that house style, and it was like really more realistic and caricatured and cartoony, which Animation Mentor tended to lean to because their rig looked that way.
Right.
And it was like created by Pixar animators.
So now you're at iAnimate and you feel like you were actually starting to get the feedback that you needed to make you
Yeah.
like a competitive,
Right.
person
Yeah.
out there in the industry, right?
Yeah. Because when I applied, they actually put me a class back from where I was. So then I was like, okay, so they're going to be like brutally honest with me, and they don't have grades. So it's pass or fail. So either you can do what they need you to do to get to the next class, or you can't. So it's like, it's all just looking at your reel, and it's like, oh, you don't understand this concept. So like, I can't put you to the next class, which was like scary at the time. Cause I was like,
Yeah, that sounds super
oh,
intense.
yeah.
It sounds risky too, because it's like, I mean, I feel like they don't, at least back, I don't know how long ago you did it,
Mhm.
but they don't seem to have like a loan system, and they are still, I would say, pretty pricey. Not They're cheaper than art school or film
Mhm.
school, but
Yeah,
I feel like just the pass or fail is like even more intense when you're like paying for it like out of your own pocket. Like you really
yeah,
want to make sure you're doing the work so that you're continuing to move forward.
exactly. I mean, it was a lot cheaper than Animation Mentor. Animation Mentor is pretty pricey, but like
Okay,
you get what you pay for, and like they invest a lot in the website. Um, but just the style of teaching wasn't for me.
that's real.
Um, yeah. And then when I got to iAnimate, it seemed everyone kind of kept more to themselves, but only because of the format of the website. Um, I think we use Zoom, and you can kind of like chat with people in Zoom, but other than that, there wasn't really a super easy way to like get to know people
Yeah,
and just like
I
come
think
across their work and stuff.
that's really good feedback, actually, because I've never heard these kind of comments before from people that I've went. Granted, I also haven't talked to a lot of people, but just
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's very different, like you're saying, than going to a brick and mortar school, is that you have that sense of community building with your
Yeah.
peers by being in the labs and all that sort of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe for some people that still want to have a little bit more community, it sounds like one may be better than the other for that sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends on the online school. Like I said, Animation Mentor made it really easy to do that. And I know a ton of people that went. Like I met cool people from there, and I know a ton of people that like have lifelong friends from Animation Mentor.
That's cool.
And I've met like people that I animate too, but that was just like after a while of getting used to like how you can reach. Like I would actually have to like talk to people during the lecture just to
To try
like
and
get to know
connect with
them.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I see something in the shot, then like compliment them.
Before I move forward, I just want to double back and say that I got my inspiration to work in animation from the Museum of Moving Image. Like
Oh, cool.
we went on a class trip in like 8th grade, and there was that station where you like do a stop motion thing,
Oh, yeah,
and I like came home and I was like, that's it. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm like 12 or 11, and I just like told my mom or whatever. And I am like loving the fact that like that your dad like worked there for so long, and like you
yeah.
were a part of that for whatever. That's like my favorite museum ever. Like I just love going
Yeah,
there.
it's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
They used to like change the exhibits a lot. One time, I mean, for a long time, they just had like video games downstairs. So I would just stay down there for the longest time, just play video games all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, it's really cool to see a glimpse of like behind the scenes of stuff and like the examples they use. Um,
Did you get to see the Jim Henson stuff?
I don't think so. I think I left
I think it's
when
a
that came
permanent
about.
thing though.
Oh,
So
it is.
whenever you're able
Yeah,
to come back to this side of the country,
yeah.
for sure. So the next question that I often ask my guests is to compare their like first real job to their first industry job.
Oh, like okay. So my first job was like a Foot Locker type of job.
Sure. If that's what
Yeah,
the first
that
time
was.
you
I
got your
mean,
paycheck.
yeah. So first time working was at Foot Locker, and it was downtown, right next to Macy's on 34th.
Oh,
It
okay.
was like right that big one. So that was interesting. It
Did you
was
work
fun. I
any
was
like
like,
Black Fridays or something?
I don't remember. I know. I remember like the Jordan release,
Oh
which was
gosh,
like
yeah.
insane. Yeah. So I remember working that, and it was nice to have the discount. That's the only reason I was working there. But other than that, like I was going to school in the Bronx and then going down all the way downtown to like work at Foot Locker, which probably wasn't the smartest thing. Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I did that for a little bit. And then I just like, at a certain point, I just stopped going because they wanted me. I just didn't want to work there anymore.
I was like, so you didn't officially quit? You just kind of like stopped showing up?
Yeah, I just stopped going.
Oh my God.
After that, I was pretty responsible with all my jobs.
And what was your first industry job?
Right out of school, I got this freelance project to work. What was it? It was like a laundromat or something like that. And then I had to create a character that was a coin. And then he was just like, it was like one of those employee videos where they're just like taking you through the workshop and whatever. So it was that pretty much. And there was just like a coin character. I had to design, create, rig, and like model all that and animate and then composite him onto some video that they had previously recorded. And that took like months to finish just because they didn't like want to pay. Yeah. So I wasn't like working until they would pay me.
And then you were doing everything.
Yeah. And so that was my first experience. And after that, I just like went back into school. And then I just like, because I was working at the Apple store and then going to school. So I was just like, I'm not even going to try to get anything else until I have this all figured out.
Right. Until you can get what you actually like want.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now, work-wise? Where are you?
Right now I'm at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I came here last year to work on Frozen 2, to help finish up Frozen 2. And they've kept me. Been here ever since.
And you're working there as an animator, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about like what a normal day is like for you and what an abnormal, like wild day is like as well as an animator. And also just as an animator, what is it that you do?
Are we talking normal in the pandemic or normal?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you can also go through with that too. Like I'll do that as like a follow-up. How has that changed for you? So first, let's start off with what do you do as an animator? Mm-hmm. What your normal day is like and what your abnormal day is like pre-COVID.
So as an animator, my job is to make characters. I'm a character animator. So any characters you see on screen that are emoting or like acting or anything, that's like a main character and not somebody in the background. That's typically what I'm animating. It ranges on the project. So some projects we are responsible for the background characters, but at Disney, my experience has been like there's a team that handles that. And yeah, or if like there's anything that a character interacts with on screen, then I'm also responsible usually for that.
Cool.
And a typical day, I spend a lot of time just at the desk, just like tweaking stuff in Maya. But I'll take you through like one of like the more exciting days, which is like you get kicked off on a shot. I'll take you to 2 days. So, so when you get kicked off on a shot, you actually sit down with the directors and they play the whole sequence, and everybody, like when it's your turn, you get into a chair and sit next to the directors, and they take you through the shot and like what the character's feeling in the shot, what their motivation is, where they want you to end up at the end of your shot, and just like the context surrounding what you're doing. So you just get like a clear sense of how to approach it. Here at Disney, they really value like bringing your own ideas to the table. So what I say when they play the whole sequence, they're playing storyboards. They're also playing a previs, which is just like really rudimentary characters moving through space. Mm-hmm. So you get the idea of blocking like where the character should be at any given moment. But they do want you to bring your own stuff to the table, so you don't have to follow exactly what's going on screen when you're like kicked off on your shot or your run-up shots. So after that, you go back to your desk and you kind of just like play the audio clip over and over again. And you just get a sense of like what the character's feeling, kind of just take some notes. Usually I write down like what exactly they're saying. And then I write down around that like the pitch of their voice and the volume of their voice. Like I get a sense of like where the high notes are, just to get like a basic rhythm of where the shot is and like what actions might be big compared to like what they're saying, or if they're like complimenting or just going completely against that. Also getting like the subtext, so they could be saying one thing and they can be feeling another. So their actions aren't like really matching up with their words. So it all depends on the shot. And after that, I would go into the reference room and just like shoot reference until usually I get impatient, but I try to stay in the reference room until I have something that's like pretty, pretty true to what I want to see on screen, give or take like exaggerating certain moments. So I'll do that. And then you just get back to your desk and kind of study the reference and then put it into Maya, just like posing the character out one frame at a time. And from there, you get to show the directors. You show the directors your blocking, which is like you don't animate every frame. You animate. Some people can do like every 5 or 6 frames. Some people do every 2 or 3 frames. I like to do just the least amount of work to get the idea across of like what I'm trying to do. And then from there, then if I get the okay, then I'll go back in and just like try to tighten everything down and make it look pretty.
So for those who may not know, what is a reference room or a ref room?
A reference room is just a room. It's like a big empty room, kind of, with a bunch of mirrors around you, where you have a camera set up and you might have some props and a computer with speakers so you can play your audio. That's pretty much it. You just go in there. It's like just a big space so you can kind of do whatever you need to do. If you need to like roll around on the floor or jump around, or just need to do something really subtle and just like tight framing, you could do that too.
What's the purpose of it?
Oh, this.
Like what's the purpose of reference stuff?
Okay.
I know, but
yeah. The purpose of reference is just to get an idea of where you want your acting to go, where you want the scene to go, without having to do a lot of work and draw every single pose and try to figure it out that way. That's how I use it. Mm-hmm. Some people do draw the pose because I can't draw. So this is just like my workflow. So that's how I get my ideas out. Like I'll jot down my notes first, and then I'll go into the ref room with those like things in mind as I'm acting out what the character is doing.
So I think it's really cool that you said that you can't draw, because oftentimes people think that they can't be an animator unless they can draw.
Yeah.
So is that why you chose 3D over 2D, because of the drawing part?
No, I mean, I used to draw like going into like college and stuff. I used to draw a lot. Not a lot, but just like I used to doodle and stuff and draw some characters. I could usually only do just like the front on view and just like T-pose character, and then that's it. And I can't, like, my drawings aren't super expressive. And then when I started going to online school, they don't really encourage drawing. They encourage stick figures, because that's really all you need to like get the idea across of your pose. So I'm decent at that. Still not great. But any talent that I might have had at drawing, I've like lost over the years.
Oh no.
Yeah, I need to get it back.
So what's like a crazy day like for you when, I don't know, deadlines are just kind of looming over you? What is that like?
Crazy day. So
are you like sleeping under your desk? Are you like living out?
No. Like the days, I'll say this, the days can get long. And like when you're in OT, like I went to Disney hearing like horror stories of OT and all that. And the days are pretty long. And after, like, it starts off decent, but then as time progresses, you're just like more and more mush. You just like don't want to do anything afterwards. But I mean, I think that's how it gets hard, because at Disney, I haven't felt like too much pressure to like turn something in, like this has to be here right now.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I felt that at other studios, but at Disney, there's more pressure to make things look good than there is to like get it done on time, I'd say.
All right. So, I mean, as we had mentioned before, what was it like transitioning during the pandemic? Like, how has that like impacted your workflow, or just the way you? Yeah, I think just the workflow.
Yeah, I think it's really hard because I have a 3-year-old running around.
Okay.
So yeah, and my girlfriend is working. So we're both working and then trying to take care of a 3-year-old. And so we're like splitting half the day and then working more at night. So the day, it's like I'm in a constant OT because
Yeah.
my days are just super long. But not the hardest thing, but a really hard part is getting started on a shot for me because I'm used to going to the reference room and just having the space all to myself to just like do whatever I need to do. And then here it's like I just moved into a bigger place. So I don't really know how it's going to be here.
Okay.
Um, I can probably just like go upstairs to do stuff, but in the other apartment, it was a 1-bedroom apartment, which is like a big living area. So I would have to like wait until my daughter went to sleep or like try to escape while my girlfriend wasn't working to like shoot reference. And then I
Yeah.
didn't have a ton of space to work with. So yeah, that was really difficult just like getting started and like knowing what I wanted to do. Other than that, I think it's been pretty decent. Disney's been really good about like understanding the circumstances,
Right.
um, and not like putting a ton of pressure on people to just like vomit up work, you know?
Yeah. Same for me. It seems like it feels like, I guess, leadership is pretty empathetic at this
Yeah.
time, which I also greatly appreciate. Like, we recently had some conversations at work just about like we may need to just put in on the calendar like a 30-minute no meeting block,
Yeah.
because sometimes even though we try to schedule gaps in our day or for the team, someone may be like, we have time, let's just go over. And it's like, well, there
Oh,
goes that
yeah.
hour we were trying to preserve
Yeah.
for everyone to have like lunch or to step outside or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of conversations, I would say, about like mental health and wellness, and not
That's
wanting
awesome.
to make people feel like they cannot leave their computer during the workday for a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So to keep moving things forward,
Yeah.
what was it like for you leaving New York City to work in animation? Like, was that always something that you wanted to do? Like, was to go to California or wherever, or were you
Hmm.
trying to really make animation work in New York?
I mean, I never really wanted to leave New York. It's just I had to leave to work at the studios that I wanted to like. All the studios that do animation and feature aren't in New York.
Mm-hmm.
You have like Blue Sky, which is in Connecticut, but they didn't hire me. So I had to, I'm saying I had to because like the project I left for was Spiderverse. So it's like a no brainer for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I wanted to stay in New York, but since I left, it's been fun. It's like been fun to see different parts. Like I went to a different country to work,
Yeah.
got to experience like a completely different culture. Not completely different. It's Canada, but
That's like my follow up too. Like, was there any like hurdles in adjusting to being in a different country?
yeah. Thankfully, when I left for Sony, they made it pretty easy to just they handled all the paperwork and everything. I just had to send them like all the documents, and then they and their lawyers or whatever company they use just like took care of everything.
Nice.
Um, so like the harder part was my daughter was just born, so it was just like coordinating like the move because I didn't want to move and then like try to get a place without seeing it. So I had to like go before they left
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
like get an apartment and like set everything up for them. And then they came afterwards. And it was an adjustment like with like the healthcare system
Oh,
because
okay.
theirs is like pretty different. Like, and they have a shortage of doctors. So it was pretty difficult to find somebody who was like within the network, I guess. I still don't know
Yeah,
how
health
it
insurance is
works.
so annoying. That
Yeah.
whole in network, out of network, all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. Yeah.
But I mean, it was nice though. Once we like kind of got it figured out, because if for anything, we would just go to the clinic and just see a doctor for her. And then towards the end, we were just like starting to figure it out and like find doctors and stuff. And then we left. but it was cool. Like you never get charged for stuff. We took an ambulance for like $80 once.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
America's
it's like
like
I'm gonna.
$80,000.
Yeah, it's like I should like take this to work every day. It's cheap.
So you mentioned that you moved up there because you got
Hmm.
the opportunity to work Into the Spider-Verse. Were you or are you like a comic fan? Did you know what you were going into by taking that position?
I'm a fan of Spider-Man. I was never like a super big comic book fan, but I knew about Miles Morales. I just had never read any of the comics.
Okay.
And I kind of heard things about his character, but I didn't know like what was what. And I did like some research before I did the interview, but I still didn't know like too much about his story or anything like that. But I was excited because it's, Black Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like what's not to be excited about?
So as you're like, starting to you're situated now in terms of like your family, you're getting launched on sequences, you're probably seeing concept art and storyboard,
Mhm.
animatics and all that stuff. Did you start feeling like, I think I may be working on something that's pretty cool and amazing? Or did you like not really have at that time understanding that this could be bigger than I am aware of?
No, like from like the first day, I knew it was, I knew it was like going to be amazing. Because like do you have the art book or anything?
I do have the art book. I was supposed to like have
Yeah.
it at arm's distance. Like I just have
Okay.
the book with me, but like yeah, I have the art book. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like those images, like the one of Aaron and he's walking with Miles, and then he has like the bomber jacket and the Tims, and I was just like, this is the first time I've ever seen an animated character in Tims. This is amazing.
Right.
Um, uh, so yeah, like I knew it was special from the jump. I thought it was gonna do better, like monetarily than it did, but
Mm.
everything else, I kind of like the Oscar. I just didn't think it was gonna get just because Disney wins that every year or mostly every year.
Yeah,
So I was just
just
like, it's not
about.
gonna. Yeah, I was like, it's not gonna get that, but it's gonna do like amazing. It kind of did the opposite, but was still successful. So I'm gonna say that I knew it was gonna be that.
When I was looking it up prior to this episode, I guess just for no reason I also thought it did a lot better monetarily than it actually ended up doing.
Yeah.
But I saw it like 4 times in theater myself, and I was like, maybe people just weren't that obsessed with it. But no, it
I
was
think,
really good.
yeah, I think nobody knew about it because I mean, people knew about it, but like if you look at Twitter and then you saw like what was happening outside of Twitter, it's like nobody really knew
Yeah.
about it.
And I guess too, to a certain extent, if you think about like the advertising or like commercials, we were seeing a lot of the posters, like, on the bus and the subway,
Hmm.
but it still really wasn't clear because they were also having all the different spider people or whatever. Like, so
Yeah,
you'd see
yeah,
Spider Ham or you see Gwen or Penny, and you're kind of like, what is all of this? Like, at
yeah.
the same time.
And we were like at the studio, like every time a trailer came out, we would track how many views it got, and it would do well online. But then over time, I don't think it did like as good as like Disney, like The Incredibles, or I forgot what movie came out before that. Toy Story.
Toy Story was after.
After that, oh,
Yeah.
the two Pixar movies before, like it didn't get as many views as those. So I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. That's
But
interesting.
yeah, that made me like question the marketing a little bit, like how widespread it was. Because in New York, he's from New York, so I would understand that they kind of market heavy in New York and LA.
Yeah.
But like in Middle America, I don't know. I don't know how they did.
No, that's a good point. So as you mentioned, seeing a character in Tim's in an
Yeah.
animated movie is like basically unheard of. So I wanted to ask you if you can talk a little bit to the representation and the diversity of the film, especially being from New York and getting to work on something that's like set like in your home city.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a trip the whole time I was on the show. Like I couldn't really believe that I was animating these characters, and like not only is he black, but he's like from Brooklyn, from New York. His parents are like they feel authentic, and all these characters in this world feel authentic. Like Aaron looks like a person that I would have seen walking in the Bronx or
I
in Brooklyn.
know.
And then like trying to infuse like what I know from being a New Yorker and like being Black from the Bronx, like trying to infuse that in there, just like in his movements. It's like I was just like a new animator, so I have like no control over anything but like what I bring to the table. But yeah, so like in my shot, I did the opening shot of Miles
Oh
when
yeah,
he's like at
tell us
his
more
desk
about that.
drawing.
Tell us more about what you
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
animated and did.
Yeah, so I did that shot and did like a bunch. Like, it was mainly in like the first act. I did a ton of stuff.
Okay.
I don't think I did anything outside of that really. I'd
No,
have to
so you
look at
have
my
to be a
reeling.
little bit more descriptive to let's trigger some memories for some
Yeah.
people about like yeah.
So I did the moment when he was in his room and he was drawing that long shot when he's singing to the Post Malone song with
Mm-hmm.
Sway Lee. I did that one. I did when he's arguing in the car with his dad, like right before he gets out of the car. And then when he gets out and like his dad says, "I love you," and he's just like, "All right." Yeah, I know. I also did Peter, like not dying, but like right before he died, he was telling him how to get
The
I
goober.
forgot what it's called, the goober. Yeah, about to say USB. Yeah, get the goober. Did a little bit of that, and then when he's on his way to school and he trips and falls in front of the squad car, like he trips and falls in the middle of the street, I did that too.
Nice.
I might be forgetting one thing, but that's pretty much it. But like I was saying,
Oh no, go first. Go first.
with the opening shot, it's like he's dancing and grooving at his desk. So I was like, man, I don't like dance, but I know how to like nod my head to beat to a rhythm and stuff. And I was just like, yo, man, I can't let him be off beat. Can't do it. It just has to be
Yeah.
super authentic. Has to feel right. So I spent a lot of time in the ref room, just like trying out different head nods and different ways he could just like be in his desk. And also I did a shot of Aaron in his apartment when he's like walking over to Miles.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just opened the popcorn, he's like walking over. So like with that, I tried to like infuse a little bit of like swag into his walk. It was kind of like about to sit down, but I tried to do it. I tried my best. I hope it came across.
I mean, yeah, I just love that film, so I could like talk
Yeah.
about it forever and like pick at it and all the good stuff about it. Something that we also didn't touch on is like how long does it take you from when you get launched and start a shot to like it being approved to continue moving forward in the pipeline?
I'd say most shots can take like a week or two to get done. The super long shot with Miles took 7 weeks from the time that I was initially launched on it to when I like turned it in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you
Is
feel
that
like you were going
when?
crazy like, at any
Yeah,
point?
towards the end. Yeah, I just wanted to like finish it because that was also at the end of the show. So I was just like, I was like wiped out. And then like towards the end of shows, you're tired, you're kind of like groggy, and you kind of have senioritis because you know that your end date is coming up.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're just like, man, I just want to, can I just finish this and leave? But yeah, that one, I started it and then I was taken off of it because they changed the song. And then I had hopped back onto it. So it wasn't like 7 weeks straight,
I got it.
but it was still like right at the end of the show when I was like feeling it.
And how did like your family and friends feel about, were they bragging about the fact that you worked on this? Were they like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because I worked on Angry Birds right after that, Angry Birds 2. I'm just like, nobody was
Oh my
talking about it.
crickets.
Yeah, my mom was like, yeah, I'm not going to go see that one, but good job.
Oh. No, I completely understand.
Yeah, it's fine.
It is fine. I'm still shading a lot of my friends for not seeing Spies in Disguise, but eventually. So we're gonna like pivot onto the fun stuff. I mean, that was good. The people got to know, and me too, a little bit more about you. But to talk about some of your favorite movies, I guess let's just start off with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, since we're still on that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I usually ask people to recap the movie. If you haven't seen this movie, can you just let them know what the movie's about? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you are. Might have to cut out some dead air. I haven't seen it in a long
Good
time.
at editing, don't worry.
Okay, cool. So the movie is about a teenage boy who's starting at a new school, and he's just like very uncomfortable with his place in his life right now. And to make things worse, he's bitten by a spider and gets superpowers. And then like his hero dies kind of in his arms. So man, it's like a very complicated movie. So he has to try to figure out how to. God.
You're doing great.
Oh, thanks.
You're almost there.
No, I haven't seen this movie in so long.
Okay.
So it's like trying to remember everything that happened in it. But yeah, he has to try to figure out how to fix his world pretty much after his hero dies.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We can accept that.
Thanks. I feel bad. I should have watched it before this.
Yeah, you should have. Sometimes I like to tell people that they should or shouldn't, but then also I get a kick out of y'all just trying to wing it. So, I don't know. Why is it one of your favorites?
Well, it's one of my favorites because I worked on it. I worked on it. It was my first feature film. So it was like right out of the gate, this is like the movie I worked on as a Black main character who's from New York. And I'd like identify with Miles a lot. Like I feel like we're very similar, which might be like one of the reasons why like I did well with his character in the movie. It probably is like the biggest reason. And then it's like, it just like ticked all the boxes for me for an animated film that really, I feel like it spoke to me, and it spoke to a lot of people that come from where I come from.
Yeah.
And meant a lot to a lot of people from where I'm from. So it's like a very special movie for me.
And do you have a favorite character and a least favorite character from the movie?
Favorite character is Miles.
Okay.
And my least favorite character might be Spider-Ham.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. What's up with Spider-Ham?
I don't know. I don't like dislike him. He's just my least favorite. Like I don't think if he was gone, I would miss him.
That's real. Moving on to another one of your favorite movies, you have Tarzan. Mm-hmm. So again, if there's someone out there that's never seen Tarzan, can you tell them what it's about?
Yeah. Well, it's a simpler movie. Easier to explain.
It's much simpler.
Yeah. Tarzan is about a young boy who grew up in the jungle, a young orphan boy who grew up in the jungle who was raised by gorillas. And when he's older, humans come to his home, and he's like never seen humans before in his life. So this is him finally seeing creatures that look like him, and he like wants to know more about them. And it's him dealing with the balance of trying to find his place with the humans and also with the gorillas, who he never really felt fully accepted by, like everybody in his little family.
And again, why is it your favorite?
I think the story is really strong. It like also ticks a lot of boxes for me. Like the Phil Collins music is pretty classic in my mind.
It's so good, yeah.
So just like a lot of there's so much emotion tied into music. So the music is just like it reminds me of my childhood and like everything, but also it's great music. And the animation is like I feel like one of Disney's like best animated movies.
Yeah.
Um, you have like Glenn Keane who did Tarzan, and Glenn Keane is like animation god.
That's pretty much like how I described him in an earlier episode
Oh
too.
yeah,
Yeah. It was just like that's just like what can you say? I also tell people who are outside of the industry that like he's almost like the Beyonce of animation. Like he's just such a huge
hmm
deal. And I
yeah,
don't like I don't know what else you can say. Like he's what a lot of people aspire to.
yeah,
Um and yeah, that's just what you said.
yeah. He
But
in order
Tarzan
to
on
see,
those vines, like as he's like
yeah,
sliding or skating or whatever, it's like burned
amazing.
in my memory.
And then just like it's so like the animation is so nuanced too, and it's like stuff with that Bruce Smith did with Kerchak
Yeah,
is just like amazing too. Um, yeah, I was gonna say in order to get a sense of like who Glenn Keane is, you have to kind of see him at an animation event like CTN or something. And it's kind of like you just see like a trail of people just like going wherever he goes, just like a
that's
sea of
exactly
people he's
where
just
I
like
saw
trying to
him.
trot through.
Yeah, for the first time at CTN, and it was just like he was like kind of like off in like a little corner thing, elevated, doing like a demo,
Yeah.
and that whole corner was just like densely populated with like
hmm
anim students and what have you, and I was like, just trying to go
Yeah.
get some food, like
Yeah. Even at the studios when he visited Sony, it was like the same exact thing.
hmm
So even like with professionals, it's like that.
Yeah, same. Oh yeah, so same questions. Favorite character? Do you have a least favorite character?
Favorite character, it's Tarzan. Least favorite character, I don't think I have one. Maybe the elephant.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Moving
forgot his
on,
name.
another favorite movie that you shared is Ratatouille.
hmm
All right, this is your time again. Tell the people if they
Yeah,
haven't seen Ratatouille.
Ratatouille is about a rat who loves to cook, and he finally gets the chance to do it in like on a grand scale. So the whole movie is he has to do it on a grand scale, but it's kind of like he has to control somebody else to do it. He has to control a human because nobody wants to eat food that a rat cooks. So he gets to do that and just tries not to get figured out in the process.
And why is it your favorite?
I don't know, I just think it's like one of the more perfect animated movies. Like every single aspect of it. Like I love Brad Bird and his movies, and just um, the way that he's able to control the camera and storytelling, and just like everything is just so tightly put together. Like there's no wasted frames. It feels like in his movies. Yeah, I don't know because I'm thinking about it and like Ratatouille, I wouldn't automatically say that that's like one of my favorites, but like I can put that movie on at any time. That and like The Incredibles, which like I think is more in my wheelhouse, just because it's like superheroes and like superpower stuff like that, kind of mystical. And then Ratatouille is like it's a talking rat that well, he doesn't talk to humans, but he's talking English.
Yeah.
um, so it's kind of like fantastical in that way, but other than that, it's like it's like about chefs in a kitchen and just like friendship and all that stuff. So, and there's no like real action to speak to, but I just love that movie.
Yeah, it's a movie for me too that if it's on, like I'm gonna watch it I, and have it on in the background. But then for me too, Incredibles is one of those movies as well. But if you had said Incredibles instead of Ratatouille, I think I would definitely be able to like typecast you because you would
Yeah,
have Spider-Verse, Tarzan, and Incredibles. So
yeah,
clearly like you like the action, like, you know,
Yeah.
like kind of like strong story and like lots of action at the same time too.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to move on to some TV shows that you shared with me. And the
Mm-hmm.
first one being The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack. So,
Yeah.
can you tell our listeners? I myself haven't watched that many episodes of that show. Like, I kind of
Mm-hmm.
used to catch some one off just because I love Chowder. So it would usually
Mm.
be on like before, or after Chowder or something. So I'll just leave
Yeah.
it. But yeah, what's
I'm
the
the
show
opposite.
about?
So I would watch Flapjack and then Chowder would come on and be like, yeah, I'll
Oh
just leave
no,
this on.
I like love Chowder so much. I have to do an episode just about Chowder because I love it. But yeah, what's the show about?
The show's about, I don't know if he's an orphan, but he's like a human little boy. And he goes on adventures with a pirate and they're always trying to find Candy Island. Um, and they live in a whale who is like kind of like their mother.
Oh,
So each episode is just like their adventures, but they're constantly trying to find Candy Island, but they're not out at sea too much. They're usually docked at like this little town. Um, yeah, and it's just like a sitcom, just like different things that they go through. Uh, and then I don't think there's like a real point to it or end. It's kind of like Seinfeld.
so what? Why is it like, I don't know, one of your favorite shows? What do you like about it?
I don't know. I just find it really hilarious. It's like the humor is always on point. Um, and it's like it has elements of like the character Flapjack himself is a really cute character, but then it has elements of really grotesque, like close-up painted pictures of like
Oh,
certain things in the show.
does it do
And
kind of like what SpongeBob does with like those close-ups and it's like kind of gross?
yeah,
Okay.
so it does that
Yikes.
stuff. So you have that juxtaposition, and also the characters in the little town are like all super strange. Um, like there's a barber back when barbers were like also surgeons. So he's like a barber surgeon, and
Oh gosh.
he has like a candy wife. No. So the bar owner has a candy wife, and then there's also like a separate barber slash surgeon who's very strange.
Gotcha. Do you have like a favorite moment from the show?
Um,
Something that was like really funny to you or memorable?
no, I don't have anything that sticks out. No, can't say I
Okay,
do.
that's fine. We're gonna move on to the Boondocks, a very, very memorable show. In short, what is the show about for people who may have never watched it?
This show is about. I can't really speak to like the character arcs throughout the show, but the show itself is just a commentary, like a social commentary show on like society and Black America. And like at the time it came out, there was like nothing. I don't think there's been anything on TV like it since. So yeah, at the time it came out, like it was like something completely new. It was like it kind of gave me the same vibes as like Chappelle's Show, but in like narrative cartoon form.
Yeah, that's valid.
So yeah, those two shows for me when I was in high school were just like I love watching those shows.
Yeah, I feel like everyone was watching those shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is it one of your favorite shows? A cartoon specifically?
Just like the social commentary was just so smart and funny. And like, again, like I said, like you didn't see stuff like that. Speaking to like Black America on like a major cartoon network. So yeah, it was just like, and at that time I wasn't really watching like cartoon shows, and that was like one of the ones that I would watch.
Do you have like a memorable moment from the show?
Man, I don't remember most of the characters' names, but the next door neighbor who was a lawyer,
Okay. I,
when
I'm not sure if I remember his
you
name.
don't remember, but
No.
he at some point he did like a Let It Burn uh, little little rendition, and I don't know, that's like etched into my memory.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that one. I think sometimes I just pull that up to watch it every once
Just
every
that
couple of
moment.
years. Yeah.
No, that's
But yeah.
great. I do that with Chowder. There's like this whole big performance of the "I'm Not Your Boyfriend," and it's like a stage performance, and it gets really elaborate. And so I would say like every couple years or something like that, I would just pull that up because I'm like, this show was just so all over the place, and I love it so
Yeah.
much. The last show that you mentioned was Looney Tunes, and
Hmm.
I'm very intrigued to see how you summarize Looney
Yeah, I
Tunes.
don't know, man. Would you? No, it's not like an anthropology, right?
I can understand why you would say that.
Man, I don't even know how to summarize. It's just like a cast of characters get into a wild and crazy situation.
Looney
It's a bunch of
I'll take it. I'll take it.
yeah,
I think it would be really amazing if no one has ever watched anything Looney Tunes, be it the old or the new at this point.
yeah.
Yeah, but I'll take it at that. Why do you enjoy Looney Tunes?
That's just like one of those shows when you're little, and for some reason, Looney Tunes was just like always on when I was younger, and then now like you can there's like one show I think, but they never play those like those little episodes anymore, really, unless you're looking on Boomerang or something.
Exactly.
But it's so weird because when I was younger, they would always play shows from like every decade. I felt like there were shows from the '60s and '70s and '80s and '90s that all played on TV all day.
Right.
So you got a sense of like different eras and TV shows and timing and stuff. And now it's just like all stuff that, I think a majority, like 90% of the stuff is just like stuff that's come out in the last few years.
That's a good point too. I think it would be pretty dope if they, at least for like cable, like the Cartoon Network, Nickelodeons, were to play some of their stuff from like they could do like the '90s, the early 2000s, and then like
Hmm.
now, and that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Especially a show, I guess, like SpongeBob, seeing the evolution of
And on,
SpongeBob.
yeah.
Do you watch any of the new Looney Tunes, or have you like tuned into it?
I haven't really been interested in it. I saw like one of the previews online and then it just didn't do it for me. So I was like, I'm not even gonna like check it out.
Yeah,
But
when I saw what they did to Lola Bunny, I was like, nope,
I
absolutely
didn't
not.
see what they did to her.
Oh, she's dumb.
Oh,
Like
really?
she is dumb, and she's like obsessed with being validated by Bugs Bunny. And I was like, how do you go from
Right?
Space Jam to this? Like, why would you
Yeah.
do that to her character? Like, absolutely not. I don't know in this next batch of Looney Tunes if they've redeemed her character or not or whatever, but she was really like an airhead and just
That's so
it
weird.
just made no sense. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like why did you go backwards in
Yeah.
terms of like character? Do
Isn't
you
she
have a
like
favorite
the
Looney
only
Tunes
female
moment?
character?
Oh yeah,
Favorite Looney
just
Tunes.
about.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's
That
like
sucks.
outside of her, it's kind of like the cat or something.
Oh,
Um,
right. Yeah.
but she's like, I think she's the only one that has like a speaking, yeah, part.
It's crazy.
Right.
That
Um,
sucks.
yeah, there's so many Looney Tune moments, but
Yeah.
is there one or a couple that stick out to you?
Right now it's that Bugs Bunny opera
Okay.
episode.
When he's I don't know what the word is, but he's the leader orchestrating or whatever.
He might be, but he's also in it with Elmer Fudd.
Oh, when he's
And
acting, he's like as
yeah,
a Viking or woman or something.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah, that one
Gotcha.
stands out to me. Um, and then also that little moment when like it's hunting season.
Oh, of
It
course,
was
yeah.
duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season. That one. But yeah, those are only two that like really really stand out when I
That's
think about Looney Tunes.
So we are gonna start winding down. I'm gonna let you know right now. There's a couple questions that may stump you, but it's
Okay.
okay. I do play this game called One's Gotta Go. So we're going to start off with Tarzan. From Tarzan, we have Turk, Jane, the elephant, or the mother gorilla. One's got to go.
Ooh. Turk. No. The elephant.
The elephant. Okay.
Yeah.
So from Ratatouille, we have Alfredo, Colette, and is his name Emile?
Remy's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Remy's brother. I'd say Emile.
He's the one that's got to go.
Yeah, let's get him out of here.
Okay, so for Spider-Verse, I did 2 rounds. There's Peter Parker, Peter B. Parker, and Gwen. One's got to go. Even though one went, but one's got to go.
Yeah. Peter Parker.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I might know how you feel already, but Spider-Ham, Spider-Noir, and Penny Parker. One's got to go.
The ham. The ham got to
go. So for Flapjack, the whale, the captain, or Flapjack?
Oh, man. I guess the whale.
Okay. Yeah. I like I said, I don't watch the show, so I just went by people's faces or characters that I could identify. Okay, I knew I saw those 3. There were so many other people. I was like, I don't even know if this makes sense. For the Boondocks, I have Uncle Ruckus, Tom
Uncle Ruckus.
DuBois,
Uncle Ruckus gotta go.
Oh, I was gonna say Thugnificent. Oh,
no. Uncle Ruckus gotta go.
For Looney Tunes, I have Marvin the Martian, Sylvester, Foghorn Leghorn, or the Roadrunner.
I'd say the Roadrunner.
Really? How come the Roadrunner?
I don't know. He doesn't really do anything. He just runs around. Like, he's not the entertaining one, you know?
I guess. So, I mean, for me, I personally, I feel like almost they all can go. Maybe not Marvin the Martian. I kind of like him. But
the next one.
That you would say can go?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's so funny. So this is a nice reflective question, but you do have to answer. And which cartoon character, like of all time, are you most like?
Oh, Miles.
Miles Morales?
Yeah, Miles Morales.
Yeah. That's pretty easy.
When I started on Spider-Verse, they did like a kickoff of the show and like all the characters and their character traits. And then when they listed Miles' character traits, I was like, yeah, sounds like me.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
And my last question is using animated characters cast your biopic. So it can be like you and 3 other people.
Okay.
You're Miles.
I'm Miles. Man, that's an interesting question.
Thank you.
So weird to like get characters from different worlds.
I know.
And put them into one movie.
It's quite funny.
Let's see. My daughter would be Tasmanian Devil.
Oh my gosh. I really thought you were going to say one of the kids from the Proud Family, like one of the twins.
Oh, I don't know their characters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was just thinking about like Disney female characters for my girlfriend, but they're all underage.
I mean, yes, this is true. We can ignore that for the sake of casting her properly. Okay. You know. Yeah.
So my girlfriend be Moana.
Okay, that's cool.
And
Moana and Miles make a Tasmanian Devil.
Yes. In this universe.
That's so funny. Okay. So you can do one more person, or I guess if you have a pet or something, you could do that too.
Sorry, I'm just cycling through all these
That's
characters.
completely fine. Like I said, I'm a great editor. It's completely fine.
It sounds weird to say, but because Tarzan's mom was so great.
The gorilla mom?
Yeah, but I don't want to say my mom is a gorilla.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a grandparent? I don't know.
Yeah.
An aunt or uncle?
Yeah. I'm not saying my mom is Rio from Spiderverse.
Is who?
Rio, Miles' mom.
Oh, okay. That's fair. That's nice. That sounds a lot nicer, yes, than Tarzan's mom, for sure.
She was a great mom.
She is. So we have reached the end of the episode. So I would like to thank the listeners for listening and for the viewers for tuning in as well. Stephen, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out on the weekend, especially to do this with me. Yeah, can you share with the people if they want to check out your work or whatever, how can they find you? You don't have to share an email address, but if you want to share a website or social media.
Yeah. If you want to get in contact with me, my social media on everything pretty much is at SRV Johnson. And on Vimeo, if you want to check out my work, it's vimeo.com/SRV Johnson.
Cool. And for me, you can find me on all social media platforms at Simply Robotics, SIMPLYROBOTIX. The website is simplyrobotics.com. And that is it. We're going to say bye now. Thank you again.
Bye.